Let's talk a little bit more about why people fail and what the default plan is, okay? For many Americans, we're taught to work hard, study, get into a good school, and to get a good job, okay? There is nothing wrong with that. But for most of us, it ends at that point. Our parents work so hard from the day we're born to get us into the right preschools, to accelerate our path on learning and education, to learn our numbers, our colors, how to read, how to write, and how to put us in a position to succeed financially. But very little attention is ever paid to the financial process. Okay? Most of our formal education ends by the time we graduate college or grad school, okay? Which for most people occurs early throughout their lifeline. Okay? The rest of it seems to boil down to trial and error. It reminds me of the game tic-tac-toe. When I was a kid, we used to play a game called tic-tac-toe. You remember the game? You're the X, I'm the O, 3 in a row wins. Do you remember who won the first time you played? Right? Probably the person who taught you the game, right? And then you figured out the strategy, you figured out the goals, you figured out how you can manipulate the system to win. And how, more importantly, how you can find other people who haven't played the game so that you can beat them. The same is true for our finances, okay? The insurance companies, the banks, the financial services industry, the financing firms, they understand the game, they understand the rules of the game. If you don't understand the rules of the game, you can transfer away thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars unknowingly or unnecessarily throughout your lifetime. Our goal is to educate you and empower you to make informed decisions so that you can eliminate those costs before they occur. Bring the cash flow back to the table for your own financial priorities or to improve your personal cash flow. Let's talk about what it means to be on autopilot. So let's say gentleman in the front row is lucky enough to graduate from college with great grades, gets a good job, and he graduates with no debt. Okay? He doesn't have anything, no assets to his name, but he doesn't owe anything either. Okay? And this is where some fortunate people find themselves. Many of us find ourselves in a much worse position because we've accumulated additional debt that we've got to carry as well for college loans and educational financing. But let's assume he doesn't. What is the first thing that most Americans do when they graduate from school? Well, they've worked very hard for 4 whole years, so they decide that they want to reward themselves, right? They need to go out and buy a car, right? I earned it, I deserve it. That is the mentality of many Americans, right? Probably one of the most dangerous phrases in our American culture is, I deserve it, okay? By doing so, they put themselves in debt, okay? And they put themselves behind the debt wagon. So imagine yourself carrying this giant yoke of debt over your shoulders with an empty wagon behind you, and the first thing that you do when you graduate school is that you fill it up with a giant vehicle, okay? So the automotive financing companies, they now own you. Every single month, you have to come to the table and pay that bill on a regular basis, okay? So now he's got a new vehicle, he's driving around town, he looks like a superstar, he has the vehicle, so now he can get the pretty girl, right? So now he's cruising around with her, they're happy, they decide they want to get married. It's been a few years, he's been paying down the debt on the car, and now it's time to get married. No ordinary stone will do, right? He's got to buy a giant rock, one showing that he's a man of success, and he needs to put that on her finger to prove that she's with a winner. So he goes into debt for the diamond ring, okay? It's not long before she and he decide that they can't live in their parents' basement forever, as much as they want to. They're going to need to get a place of their own. So they're going to either continue transferring debt to a real estate property owner in the form of rental on a monthly basis, or they're going to go out and try to secure a mortgage, in which case they'll be putting more debt on their shoulders by transferring that money to the financing companies and the banks that will lend them for their home. A few more years pass, then junior comes along. And they start to look at private schools and figure out how they can educate that child and get them in the right position financially to start life. By the way, it's been about 5 years now. The brand new car that he purchased when he got out of college is all dinged up and banged up. It looks as junky as anything else on the road. There's a couple dents in the door from the trips to the grocery store. Kid tosses cookies a few times in the back seat, so it's a mess. And he turns around at age 40 and says, "What the heck happened to me? I was on a path to financial success and freedom, and I just did everything right, the right way that everyone told me to do. And before you knew it, I was out of money. I owe money to everyone, and I don't seem to have that much to show for it." Now, the purpose of that story is not to talk down on marriage or buying nice cars or houses. I own a house, I have vehicles, and I have a family. The point is that no one's given any guidance or advice on how to do it the right way, in a way that allows you to maintain control of your finances and keep you in a position to win. In the first scenario, most people find themselves in a position where they're constantly trying to claw themselves out of a hole of debt. And ironically, it's us who put ourselves in that position from the get-go. Okay? And it's not by chance. From the time we're young, we're fed all types of advertisements and thought conditioning by Madison Ave. Right? Television exists primarily because of advertisers. And these are very smart people designed to trick you into purchasing products and services. Quite often, products and services that you don't necessarily need on an ongoing basis. Take, for example, your telephone. Okay, I've been in the financial services business for 15 years, and I've probably had 10 or 12 different cell phones. Okay? It is the telephone company and the technology company's job to convince me that the phone that I have today is quickly going to become obsolete, and there's no way I can possibly do my job effectively unless I upgrade that telephone, unless I upgrade the car that I'm driving in, unless I upgrade the technology that's backing me up. My computers, my television. I mean, how can we possibly enjoy the Super Bowl on a 42-inch plasma screen? You need to have a 60 or 100-inch plasma screen in order to enhance your viewing pleasure, right? This is what we're taught, and this becomes the American dream. This is why people work to accumulate things instead of to create financial freedom. And so what we're trying to do is help people take back control of their lives by helping them figure out and calculate the true cost of those decisions, and then empowering them with a system to make informed financial decisions. That does not mean living like a pauper. It doesn't mean you have to watch the Super Bowl on a 12-inch black and white television in your kitchen, but it does mean finding balance in your life financially and understanding what the true economic impact of making those financial decisions is. Okay? There are different ways to make financial decisions. Okay? A few basic categories. The first one we've covered at length today. We call that the default decision, which is no planning whatsoever. Okay? By doing so, you put yourself on a path to financial mediocrity. Why do I say that? Because most people are on this path, and it's a trail that hasn't worked for millions of others. Why would you want to travel the same path that has resulted in failure for millions and millions of Americans? Okay? The second level of informed money decisions is what we would call occasional planning or product-based planning. Okay? This is a situation where you see a financial services product on TV or an advertisement, and maybe it inspires you to take some action. Perhaps you're looking at an auto insurance advertisement, a life insurance advertisement, or something that piques your interest. Okay? You see a caveman or a lizard on TV, and they tell you, we can save you a bunch of money, sir. Just give us a phone call. Okay? And what most consumers do when making financial decisions is they apply a consumer-based decision process. In a consumer-based decision process, it's similar to buying a television or a radio or some piece of technology. What you typically do is you look at a few different companies, you compare and contrast features and benefits, you take a look at the price, and then you try to look at reviews and find out who likes the product that they own and find the best price and purchase it. That's not necessarily the best way to purchase your financial products. Okay? The best way to purchase your financial products is within the confines of designing a plan and then working backwards to facilitate and purchase the products that are best suited to help you meet that plan. Okay? Unfortunately, none of us have the experience of having a plan for acquiring possessions or buying consumer products. So it kind of flies in the face of conventional wisdom, and we have to take a step back and look at it for what it is. Okay? The next level up in terms of your financial decision-making process would be something we call needs-based planning. Needs-based planning has been around probably since the 70s. Many financial firms use this system. And at its core, it's a good system. It's designed to help people figure out what their future financial needs and goals are. Those can be goals related to college funding, providing for income for a loved one in the event of a premature death or a disability, saving for retirement, saving for educational needs, and so forth, maybe saving up for the purchase of a home. Unfortunately, as human nature is, individuals, and many individuals have found a way to utilize this system as a manipulative sales practice. And what that has resulted in are thousands of financial professionals coming into your place of business or your home, sitting down with you, gathering data from you, trying to determine what's important to you and what keeps you up at night, and then using that data to manipulate you into buying the financial products and purchasing these products that they've predetermined that you need. And normally they predetermine the products that pay them the most commissions. Okay? These are people that you want to stay away from. Okay? It's a manipulative selling practice designed to get people to be tricked into serving the salesperson's agenda when they should be focusing on your agenda. Okay? A level up above that is traditional financial planning. Now, I'm a big believer in financial planning. I think it makes sense. However, financial planning is a term that is thrown around pretty loosely and is abused by many firms out there. Okay? A financial plan should be very comprehensive, should be custom tailored to your situation, and should not be a cookie cutter output for you. Unfortunately, there are many people running around with designations and licenses who are dispensing poor financial advice, advice that's predicated on way too many assumptions. Assumptions is a fancy way for saying guesses, right? In order to create a good plan for you, sir, all we need to know is how long are you going to live, how long is your spouse going to live, where will tax rates be every single year from now till retirement. That's federal and state taxes. We need to know where the estate tax will be. We need to know what inflation will be year by year from now till the day you die. We need to know how the markets will perform or make an assumption on that every single year from now until the day you die, and a whole host of other factors. We then take these guesses and pump them into a financial model, which allows us to figure out what the probability of your success is. The good news is if we're accurate and we guess correctly on those 30 or 40 variables, you have a fairly good chance of succeeding financially. The downside is that if we miss a few or we're off on our guesses, it can be the difference between you retiring on a gigantic yacht in the Caribbean or putting on a smock and saying, welcome to Walmart or welcome to Home Depot. Okay? When we do planning, we want to make sure that we minimize that margin of error, and the best way to do that is through updated reviews and coordination. Unfortunately, very few people plan. Those who do plan do the bare minimum. And unfortunately, many of those people are working with advisors who are not committed to their success. When you're working with an advisor, you need to figure out, do I have a salesperson that I'm working with, or do I have a coach? A salesperson works on their agenda. They come with preconceived notions of what they want to sell you, why it's important to drive their economic model, and why it's able to help them succeed financially, whereas a coach works on your agenda. A coach's job is designed to help you improve your current position, be that in sports, physical education, or matters of finance. Your goal should be to align yourself with a financial coach at all times.